You, Pisces. Welcome to the September Align by Sign. Let's get into it. Okay, so Pisces, September. I think the easiest way for me to put this is we're in a little bit of a fight, and the Five of Wands being crossed by the Page of Cups is reminding us that because we're in the midst of that conflict, it's going to be a little bit tough for us to be clear-headed about what is leading to what feelings and emotions. Essentially, we are not clear on the root of the argument. We're kind of focused on some of the surface layers. Part of it is because we're not fully embracing what it took for us to get here and how kind of spur of the moment or reactionary we may have been on the way. The Knight of Wands in the past is pointing out that there's been a pattern of recklessly moving into things, moving on the basis of like feeling and passion. That was kind of like our compass. And while strong feelings are a good marker of a thing, they may not be a good marker for everything. And part of why we're in this idea of like Five of Wands conflict is because we were so intent on being the Knight of Wands, not allowing external forces to dampen our motivation on the basis of how strongly we feel about it. But if we know consciously feelings aren't facts, then we can't use feelings as reliable fuel because we're not going to get to where we're actually trying to go in terms of like the engine, right? It's not a sustainable fuel. We're wanting to move away from that reckless nature into essentially, it feels like being a little bit more feminine around not having to take control and make all the decisions all the time and be led through an experience of care that you don't have to be so conscious of so that you can just slip into the feel of things. The Nine of Cups being the next step forward is definitely showcasing as a desire to experience being held in different ways, experience being held in softer ways, and our inability to figure out what we need to do externally to make that happen is turning our magic in on ourselves, where we're trying to figure out what needs to be shifted or what needs to be changed in order for us to properly exert our magic on our environment. But I don't think the environment is the issue, which isn't to say that you need to use magic on yourself. I think it's a matter of being reinvigorated by your own spark and kind of, okay, if I were to put it away, it's like if we're constantly using joy and anger as fuel, then we only have somewhere to go when we're at the peaks and the valleys. If we take more account of what other emotions provide us with, we may have a lot more fuel on hand than we think in order for us to move forward. You know, this idea of trophies has been really prevalent in this last like month, but the Four of Cups shows up and it's, you know, reminding us that over everything, we're a little bit more concerned about how things look than how things are, and not even feel, just are, right? The representation versus the living experience, the statue of the animal versus the lived animal, right? A dog looks really cute on television. It's like running around the house and being goofy, and then you get a dog and it shits everywhere, and you're like, what the fuck? It's that kind of thing, right? It's like being more realistic about what it takes to support the moments that feel soft and cuddly. In that, priorities come into play where we might be shifting our focus away from things that aren't actually impacting our environment. They're more so impacting our perception of like the representation. Like I said, impacting our perception of the puppy in question. And it's like, if you know the dog is going to shit, you're more excited about ways that the dog shows that your training is working as opposed to being mad every time that the dog does a dog thing. So yeah, Two of Coins is just having that internal balance and kind of understanding from a much more secure place what you can and cannot control and fully attacking what you can control and allowing what you can't control to kind of fade into the background or be the energy that moves the current. You know, you're the fish, right? So it's like you're going to go where the current pushes you and you're a natural swimmer. So it's not a problem that there's a current. It's just a matter of figuring out which one you want to follow. You may notice some delays around like things that seem to be waiting for you to show up in order to go. So I wouldn't use your evaluation from afar to trigger your discernment about what is a good or a bad investment or opportunity. It's like things are going to start showing up a certain way as you get closer. Essentially, like think about a sensor on a light. It's like the light is capable of being turned on, but it's not going to turn on if there's nobody in the room. So if you're focused on assessing light before you allow it to, shine on you, you're going to think everything is dim. Whereas if you move, knowing that light is going to find you because like you're the star of the show, spotlight is going to find you, that's where we get a lot more success in the experience we're looking for because we're present in the spaces that the light can shine on us. I think one of the things that we got to keep in mind is everything that uh reminds us of a limitation or a bound feeling is not the same thing. It can just remind us, and the reminder is so that you can circumvent allowing yourself to be bound, not circumvent the experience or the trigger, right? The thing about triggers that people like point out, it's like you can't expect the world to be responsible for your triggers, but in being responsible for your own, you can recognize when they're happening and change structures, change your social architecture so that you have a safe space for your response to the trigger and it doesn't become such an overwhelming thing. I'm not going to lie, that was a really smooth ass channel, just kind of flowed. Let me know how this turns out when you get to October. Looking forward to hearing about it. Hope it helps.